and there'll be no Cape Canaveral for anybody. That's it. Back to Winnipeg.
All right, kids force parents to turn the car around all the time, right? But grown adults forcing pilots to turn the plane around? Well, believe it or not, it happened again. Second time this week. A flight diverted after two passengers fight over a reclining seat. Frequent flyer Mollie Hemingway is here to help, well, stop the madness. Man, oh man, Mollie, what is going on here? Now, in both cases, same deal. Person in front puts their seat back, person in the back. In this case, the latest, a Frenchman, says enough is enough, I'm going to go ballistic. What happens?
What's happening is that in economy seats, we have gone from just under 3 feet of space in between seats to just over 2 feet. So it's not that surprising that we're starting to see more and more fights about that very small amount of space.
But why can't we all just hug? You know what I'm saying? Like, I mean, like, here's me. I mean, when I go to theaters, this might surprise you, I have a very big head. So I feel funny or I'll slump in my seat knowing the person behind me is not going to see the movie, even at an IMAX theater. So I go to the back row. But I try to be considerate, try to be aware of my size. Why can't we do stuff like that? In other words, why can't we all be like me?
Well, probably because our society has become extremely inconsiderate in all ways, and airplane travel is just another one of them.
All right, well, let's go through it. You have some ways to guide us through this. First thing we got to do is what?
Well, I'd say maybe not don't recline, but consider not reclining. Understand that when you're reclining, any increase in your satisfaction happens at the expense of the person seated directly behind you. And that could be a very pregnant lady. It could be a dad holding an infant on his lap. It could be someone just trying to get some work done before they get home, or a really tall person. People over 6 feet, their knees are right at that place where the seats recline. So just understand that there's a conflict there.
All right, so but can you recline a little bit?
Well, if there's a kid behind you, you can recline all the way you want. But just understand what the situation is behind and just check with the person.
But you say something else here that a lot of this gets into personal hygiene as well, right?
Yeah, we can smell you, we can hear you, we can see you. So think about that when you're applying perfume, when you're choosing whether or not to bring curry on board, when you're thinking about whether Game of Thrones would be a good thing to watch. Just keep in mind, you're not invisible and you're not in a bubble. We are all here together.
Well, you don't watch Game of Thrones? Just probably Fox or Fox Business, I guess. All right, now, when you say stay in your space, what does that mean? Because you even said the space is getting smaller and smaller, hard to do.
Right. It's one of the things that separates us from the animal kingdom, that we don't get all up in each other's space. So in the same way that you wouldn't pick the nits on the person seated next to you, neither should you be draped over the armrest. And you shouldn't stick your hairy armpit in the face of grandma when you're trying to shove your luggage into the overhead bin.
Was that you? I'm sorry, I did not know that. But what if you're just a bigger person and let's say you tend to just sort of flow into that other person? Then don't fly?
No, I mean, I think that we all need to work together, and if you are sufficiently large that you need to go ahead and get extra space,
by the way, it's calorically challenged, young lady. It's calorically challenged. Now, finally, and this is true with all kids, my own including, because they're monsters when they fly, but manners. What do you mean by that?
Well, I think, kids is a big issue. People freak out about children being on planes. And part of that is that parents have done a really bad job of disciplining their children. It's like you don't come out of the womb knowing that you're not supposed to kick the seat in front of you. That's what parents are for, to teach those things.
I tell this to my wife all the time. Yeah. You're right.
And you're not supposed to, throw a temper tantrum. And then at the same time, some of the absolutely rudest behavior I've seen has been from people who just have this irrational hatred of children. So we need to kind of work together. Help out the parents who are traveling with young children. Go ahead and play peekaboo with a kid, or offer to watch a kid so the parent can go to the bathroom.
Peekaboo with a kid on a plane? That will actually, if there are possibilities there. I'm thinking that through. Mollie, good tips. Very common sense tips, too. I appreciate that.
Thanks.
I don't want you sitting near my kids, though, because I know how that's going to go. All right. In the meantime, was this particular thing sexy or just sexist?